Mitch and Murray too. Blame Canada! Shame on Canada!
Damn, America! What the hell happened? No miracle on ice this year, eh? Let's break this down. First of all, the women. Now here's something a lot of you may not know. Women's Olympic ice hockey has only been in existence since 1998. And that year, the American women defeated the Canadian women in the inaugural gold medal game. But the ladies of Canada have won it all ever since. Every time. This year, however, by all means, should have been different. Team USA had a 2-0 lead in the third period. And there's only 3 periods in a hockey game. And before you know it, they've blown their shutout, but they still had a chance to put the game away because the ladies of Canada took their goalie out to get a 6th offensive player on the ice. Open net. And Team USA got the puck back, and all she had to do, whoever it was that attempted that shot, all she had to do, with no goalie, was slap the puck somewhere in this region. And she slaps it, and it goes right off the goalpost. And to make matters worse, before they know it, Team Canada ties it, and then wins it in overtime. As for the men, you know, they, like their Canadian counterparts, they were undefeated heading into that semifinal game. And Canada shuts them out 1-0, knocking them down to the bronze medal game, where, as you see, they got shut out again, even worse, by Finland. And the Canadian men go on to shut out Sweden in the gold medal game, and the rest is history. And for Team Canada, this was the greatest Olympics for ice hockey in quite a while. Because not only did they both win gold, men's and women's, both teams, as I've been repeating in my videos recently, went undefeated this entire Olympics. You turn back the clock 8 years, and not only did the men's team not win the gold, they didn't medal at all. So we go back to 2010, where they both medaled, but the Canadian men lost to the American men in the prelims before striking back in the gold medal game. But this year, clean sweep, and they repeated as Olympic gold medalists, successfully defending the titles they won at home in Vancouver in 2010. Now, before I go any further, I'd like to talk about my last video, because I had a couple of fans file some small complaints. One fan was mad that I didn't include Purple Rain in the movies list. Okay, my bad, somehow I overlooked it. But come on, are you telling me I didn't give you a good enough list of movies? Hey, Purple Rain's a classic, but in my opinion, it's no Gremlins, it's no Terminator, it's no Karate Kid, it's no Revenge of the Nerds, it's no Footloose, it's no Ghostbusters. I mean, what the fuck? And of course, who complained that I didn't include Purple Rain? Carrie. Carrie, I thought we established this. You suck. Now go play the 80s kind of game, and unlike your USA men's hockey team this year, get some medals, or else you ain't got no mama. As a matter of fact, and I'm dead serious when I say this, somebody better play my 80s kind of game and prove to me that they played it, or I'll tell you what, this will be my final episode. That's right, I'm holding out until somebody plays that motherfucking game. You think I'm kidding? Try me. Hell, my next episode is supposed to be the biggest milestone for me yet. Episode 25. But for all I know, there won't be one. You know what? I'm like a real TV show now. I depend on my loyal viewership. So, y'all want me to stay on the air? It's up to you. So, in case this turns out to be my final episode, let me piss off that angry 90s guy once more. Because he also had some shit to say about my last video. Again, all those great movies I talked about, and what does he have a gripe with? Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom wasn't a good movie. Oh, is this what you're you know, bragging about your 80s with, oh, that's a shit film, oh, and your shit cinema in the 80s, blah, blah, blah. First of all, we're only talking about 1 year. Are you saying it's the worst Indiana Jones film in the trilogy? Okay, I accept that. I threw it out there because Indiana Jones is a well-known franchise and I was doing 1984 movies, so I said, okay, here's another film that was in 84. Are you really trying to knock the 80s for having one bad Indiana Jones movie? What about Raiders of the Lost Ark? 1981. The Last Crusade, 1989. What the fuck did the 90s have? Young Indiana Jones? Get that bullshit out of here. And again, even if we're just focusing on that 1 year, oh, see, 1984 sucked because it had Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Motherfucker, I just said it also had Gremlins and the Karate Kid and the Terminator and Revenge of the Nerds and Footloose and fucking Ghostbusters. If y'all really wanted to complain about my 84 video, what you should have realized is I gave some false reports due to this motherfucking misinformation superhighway. I know I'm supposed to be the expert here, I'm the 80s kind of guy, but I can only remember so much. In 1984, I was fucking 3. I don't remember seeing Michael Jackson do the moonwalk for the first time, so I relied on my research, and some fuckers got it wrong. And not just a little bit wrong. Michael Jackson's moonwalk was not in 1984. And you can't even cheat a little bit on this and claim it was 84. It wasn't like, oh yeah, he did it in, you know, December 83. So, I mean, if you think about it, technically it was 84. Or, oh, I'm sorry, I remembered it because it was so late in 83, I remembered it as 84. Or, well, you know, it was really like January 2nd, 85. So, you know, it still counts. No. It was like halfway through 1983 he debuted that shit, and somebody's putting in a fucking article when they're reminiscing about 84. Same thing with Growing Pains. It debuted in September 1985. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Quit giving me this false information. Growing Pains and the Moonwalk did not debut in 1984. I missed a couple of things that did, however. Charles in Charge, and one I really should have known, Kids Incorporated. When I'm researching my information, I really need... There's a lost 80s gem for you. But yeah, the so-called information superhighway, you can't even trust it anymore in this new dumbass fucking millennium. Although I guess I can't complain about this millennium too much anymore because, well, every year since the new millennium hit, the women have won the gold medal. And then if we're just talking about this decade, 2010 and 2014, both men's and women's, back-to-back gold medalists. The 90s Star Wars, here's the lightsaber duel into the... Your movie doesn't even have the best lightsaber battle of all time. Revenge of the Sith, a young Obi-Wan versus a young Darth Vader. You got nothing, motherfucker. Wow, I am really giving the 2000s a lot of credit today. What the heck is going on? Maybe this show needs to come to an end. As much as people hate Jar Jar Binks, the Jerry Lewis of the Star Wars franchise, highlighting, it's been well documented how many people fucking hate Ewoks as well. Do you think Jar Jar was the only stumbling bumblefuck of the franchise? But you know what, looking past all that, both the Ewoks and the Gungans were both great warriors. However, even though the Gungans were supposed to exist long before the Ewoks, good job George Lucas, you dumb fuck, they had much more advanced weapons. And yet, even with all this advanced technology, the laser shields and everything else, they couldn't beat the Trade Federation's robots. The only reason why they did eventually win is because a very young and very annoying pre-Darth Vader Anakin Skywalker pulled a fucking Homer up in space. The Ewoks, on the other hand, they didn't need that kind of help. In fact, the Rebel Alliance needed their help. Without the Ewoks, the fucking Empire would never have been defeated. And plus, all goofiness and kiddiness aside, the Ewoks just had one of these epic cavalry has arrived moments. The ones that give you goosebumps. You know, they gave me this feeling. When you heard this,
By the power of Grayskull.
oh man, it got the blood pumping, and you were like, oh fuck, Skeletor, you're about to get your ass whipped now. Yeah! And yes, as a kid, and even still today, I still get those goosebumps whenever I watch this scene. You gotta love classic shit like that. Just when everything looks bleak for the good guys, all of a sudden, there's a war cry and in comes the cavalry. And don't worry, angry 90s guy, you know what? I'm gonna pay just a teeny bit of homage to the 90s with the scene of another great example of the cavalry arriving. See, now that's bangerang. And on a side note, going back to my argument about how much today's internet even fucking sucks, when I was trying to look that up, all I got was an even shittier song by Skrillex. What the fuck? And you know, the whole cavalry arriving thing, it works on both ends of the spectrum. It can give you those happy goosebumps, or it can give you just the exact opposite effect. Perfect example, The Walking Dead, first season when Rick turns that corner in Atlanta. Or, of course, to give an 80s example, even though the pool scene made it pretty damn clear what was about to happen, when you first see just how many times Stripe multiplied in Gremlins, oh my god, my jaw dropped. It was one of those, oh fuck moments. Sorry, angry 90s guy, but 80s wins again. Go Canada, though. And on that note, in case y'all do want to be fucking hosers and not play the 80s kind of game, and in case this is my final episode, let me show you my roommate one more time. Hell, you know what this needs? Some old school Incredible Hulk music.